Good evening. This is your evening briefing for Tuesday, the 14th of April, 2026. Today's briefing spans rising tensions in the Middle East, worsening humanitarian needs in Sudan, a health alert in Burundi, and a series of Australian policy and justice updates. Leading the briefing, President Donald Trump says the US military has begun a blockade of Iranian ports and coastal areas, and he is warning that any Iranian warships that come too close will be destroyed. Marine tracker data showed at least 2 tankers turned around near the Strait of Hormuz shortly after the blockade began, as ceasefire talks ended without an agreement. Also in the briefing, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies says Sudan is facing the world's largest displacement crisis, with 33 million people needing humanitarian assistance this year. The group says families are returning to devastated communities without basic water, healthcare, or schools, while more than 4.5 million people have fled to neighbouring countries. Meanwhile, the heads of the IEA, the IMF, and the World Bank Group met in Washington to coordinate their response to the economic and energy fallout from the war in the Middle East. The agencies say the conflict is pushing up oil, gas, and fertilizer prices, creating risks for food security, jobs, and shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. In other developments, Qantas says it is raising its fuel cost outlook and has not started its planned share buyback after the war in the Middle East sent jet fuel prices sharply higher. The airline is lifting fares, shifting more flights to stronger routes such as Europe, and cutting domestic capacity by about 5 percentage points in the June quarter. Elsewhere, Save the Children says an average of 3 children have been born every minute in Sudan since the conflict began 3 years ago, adding up to about 5.6 million births. The group says the health system has collapsed, with maternal deaths rising, infant mortality still extremely high, and most health facilities in affected areas no longer operating. Also today, health authorities in Burundi, with support from the World Health Organization, are investigating an undiagnosed illness in Mpanda district that has left 5 people dead and 35 cases reported. Patients have had symptoms including fever, vomiting, diarrhea, and blood in the urine, while tests have so far ruled out Ebola, Marburg, yellow fever, and other serious viral diseases. Separately, a 30-year-old man is due in court after being charged with the murder of Hayley McClenahan Ernst, whose death in Kingswood in 2017 had been under long-term investigation. Police say she was found unresponsive at a home on Derby Street while pregnant and died at the scene. In other news, the Australian Taxation Office and APRA are warning that compassionate superannuation claims for dental and medical treatment may be misused. They say some practitioners and third parties are pushing unnecessary or overpriced procedures, and they urge people to treat early access to retirement savings as a last resort. Turning to another story, New South Wales has unveiled a $100 million electric vehicle strategy aimed at expanding charging infrastructure and workforce training. The plan includes faster charging, more curbside charging, support for electric trucks, and training for 2,000 regional mechanics, as EVs now make up 15.6% of new car sales in the state. And finally, New South Wales is upgrading the Opal network so concession, pensioner, and senior fare holders can link credit or debit cards to their travel entitlements. The rollout begins on April 16th and is expected to affect about 970,000 people, while physical Opal cards will still remain available. That is your evening briefing.